Welcome to Spenelli Speaks. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited today to talk to you about a book that I was so happy to have gotten from the author herself, which is Abbi Waxman's I Was Told It Would Get Easier. I just finished this book and I gotta tell you, if you are a mother or if you are a daughter, you need to read this book. It was so true. Like, everything in it is true. You may think to yourself, Danny, why are you outside doing this review? Why aren't you sitting in your lovely room with all of your books? Well, everyone, I am afraid of the teenager that is inside the house because I don't want her to hear what I have to say about mothers and daughters and teenagers in general, because God forbid I'll be talking about her. So I'm hiding out here so that I can talk to you. So, speaking of which, I am out here with the children that do like me, which are two canines, and they may bark from time to time, so I do apologize first and foremost for that. But before we jump into the book itself, I want to say a huge thank you to Abbi Waxman. Thank you so much for sending this out to me. I truly enjoy your work. You really have become one of my favorite authors. You really do have a way with words, so honest and thoughtful, and I really appreciate you. So thank you so much for sending me this book. This is the perfect day to talk about this book because it's Mother's Day. And what better day to talk about relationships between mothers and daughters than on the day where we are meant to appreciate those who gave us life. Editor Danny here. It is not Mother's Day today. Mother's Day is tomorrow. I'm sorry, but happy Mother's Day. Before we begin as well, I want to say it is really hard being a mother. There, I said it. It's really, really hard. So, excuse me. So thank you to all those mothers out there, especially my own, for putting up with us. I'm glad I'm wearing sunglasses. It's really hard. So this book really came at a perfect time for me. I am gaining a 13-year-old when I get married this year, and teenagers are rough. They really are. So I appreciate every single mother out there who, gosh, deals with those teenagers, deals with, the trouble of being there, caring, doing whatever you can to make sure that that child grows up healthy and safe. Thank you. On the flip side of that, it's really hard being a daughter, a child, a teenager, growing up and feeling like you're not being listened to. And I say those two things because this book shows both sides of that coin. It really, truly does. The way that Abbi Waxman has set this book up is you get the perspective of both the mother and the daughter in this book. So this book is about a mother-daughter, Jessica and Emily. Jessica is the mother and Emily is the daughter, and they are going on some college tours, and we get to kind of see how they are together, what their dynamic is. We get a really good idea of how their relationship has grown and the, idea of what could it grow into. So I really liked that. I liked that instead of being the mother and just getting my perspective and saying, yep, I told you so kind of idea, I also get the daughter perspective, and she's 16 in this book. But as a mother, you want the best for your child, regardless if it's a daughter or a son or whatever it may be. But you're constantly playing, or you're constantly battling with, what can you say, what's going too far, but still having to parent. So this book did a really nice job of showing that dynamic, and I certainly don't think that this is an all-encompassing, solve anyone's problems, but it just gives you a really good glimpse of the perspectives in that mother-daughter relationship. So this, in an earlier video and on the book here, it says that it's coming out in June 16th, but I did look on Goodreads, and Goodreads is listing it as July 16th, so I'm not quite sure if it got pushed back, considering the situation that we're in now, but sometime this summer, I think. So a couple of things that I wanted to kind of mention. I have made some notes because I really wanted to give you guys a good idea of what we're looking at here. So I mentioned that perception that we see between mother and daughter, and I'm just going to read you a quick little insert here, and it's so true. I mean, it is so true how what one person, like a mother, would perceive a situation to be like, and then you flip it to the other perception of what's happening, and it's just backwards. So I'm just going to read this. This is first from Jessica's point of view. So this is Emily, the daughter, has come home after school, and this is Jessica to herself. She says, "When I came back, there was a different quality to the silence. Em? Still nothing, but I noticed her sneakers by the door. She was home, presumably lurking in her dank, bone-strewn lair upstairs, hopefully packing for the trip, so they're going to go for colleges. If my life were a choose-your-own-adventure book, I'd have two options at this point. One, walk into the kitchen and not check on Emily. Have a cup of coffee and unload the dishwasher. Stare into the middle distance and adjust my underwire. Or two, go upstairs and speak directly to my daughter because she's probably got headphones in and can't hear me calling. That would lead to another fork in the road. Could she nod pleasantly? We might exchange a smile, maybe even a hug, and she'd reassure me her packing was all done. Or, and this had high probability, she'd frown at me and when I appear in her doorway, tug out a single earbud, raise her eyebrows at me, and say, 'What?' Gosh, I get that all the time. In a tone of voice that implied I was interrupting her solving the problem of clean, limitless energy. I'd feel a tiny pang of pain, tempered with irritation at being talked to like that, and ask about her packing. She'd shrug and say, 'Of course,' as if being unprepared is something alien to her, and implying my lack of trust is hobbling her ability to grow as an individual. Then 2 days into the trip, we discover she'd forgotten to pack even a single pair of socks, and the rest of the week would be spent with 'I told you so' hanging over us like an unacknowledged fart. My mother didn't raise no fool. I'd walk into the kitchen and turn on the kettle." So that was the mother's point of view. Then she flips to the next paragraph, which is Emily, the daughter's point of view. And this is what Emily is doing. "I checked my list again. 7 days of underwear, extra shoes, soap, socks, and sanitary protection. Check, check, check. Dude, I'm so on it." I paused. "Was that Mom?" Silence. Then distant noises from the kitchen. Guess she didn't even want to say hello to me. Charming. So you can see there's a little bit of a different, perspective coming from each side, and whereas on the mother side, she's like, well, do I want to go up there? Because she's just going to be mad at me that I'm even in her space. I'll just forget it. And then the child seemingly wants that connection. So that is definitely truth. Preach, sister. Like, oh my gosh. every single interaction seemed like that is what it's going to be like, for me at least, dealing with a teenager. Then the other thing that I wanted to kind of point out is another I found so interesting, and you can see I've kind of Christy Lewis'd my book here. Not as bad, of course. And if you don't know who Christy Lewis is, I'll put her YouTube channel in the link below, because you have to check her out. But so another portion where some parents are actually talking about the kids is pretty funny, because it's talking about how nothing's really changed. Like, when you were their age, you know, we were saying to our parents, like, oh, I know, and all that kind of thing. And then as an adult, you forget. It's like a never-ending cycle. So for here, we have some parents talking, and Jessica, one of the main characters, she says, I giggled suddenly. It really is a different world, but they're mean to us in exactly the same way we were to our parents. It's not like they've come up with new high-tech material. You don't understand me, said Chris. All the other mothers said yes, said Danny. Side note, there's a character in here who is kind of a total witch, and her name is Danny, so it must be me. You're the worst mother in the world. You've ruined my life. I'm never going to forgive you. I hate you. It seems like this is the common dialogue we have from children to their parents. Never changes. It's always the same, it seems. So another part of the book that I really found awesome, because I fantasize about this all the time. No, not that. This is, again, the mother. Obviously, I am more on that side, because right now I am dealing with a teenager. This is from her perspective. She's talking to those same parents, and she says, I have this fantasy that one day Emily will come up to me and say, hey, Mom, the other day I found myself in a situation I hadn't anticipated, and the advice you gave me 3 years ago suddenly popped into my head. I was able to handle myself perfectly, and I wanted to say thanks. I always feel prepared, thanks to your thoughtful guidance. Ain't that the truth? Anytime I have to give any advice, that's all I keep thinking, and I do apologize about my neighbor. Now I'm assuming you probably can't hear me. But yeah, I fantasize about that kind of stuff. Someday she'll thank me. Someday she'll thank me. And I know right now my mother is literally watching this going, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Because isn't it every mother's dream that someday there will be a more rotten teenager to give you all of the hate you threw at them when you were a teenager? Truth. Next portion was just something really funny that I noticed. They get off the plane and, you know, their phones sync in back with the Wi-Fi or data or whatever, and she comes out and she, you know, says all these snaps. She's got some texts, some tweeters and all this stuff, and then she's like, and then one Facebook message, probably from my grandpa, you know, indicating that Facebook is old news. So I thought that was funny. But the last thing I wanted to leave you all with, as this is getting a bit long here, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but one other thing that I felt so grateful for Abbi Waxman's book is this paragraph right here, because I truly feel like this is so important for women in general and people in general, really. She says, my God, I'm grateful for the friendship of women. A strong female friendship is like a romance that kept its mystery and never beached itself on the shores of exhausted intimacy. It was the first 6 weeks of a new relationship, except, you know, forever. Friends listen carefully. They poke fun at each other, keep favorite cookies on hand, and can tell the difference between hormonal and genuinely pissed off. They're team you when you are arguing with your partner. Team both of you against the children, and team all of you against the world. And I thought that was so true. You know, I have friends that have really helped me through a lot, and especially in the last, 6 years of becoming kind of an instant mom. It's hard. Sometimes you can't talk to the people you think you should talk to about those things because you feel maybe judged, or maybe that you're not doing the right thing. So it's like the people who are closest to you are the hardest to talk to. But whereas a friend, they're just going to be honest, and they're just going to listen. And realistically, sometimes that's the best thing for you. So, kind of a weird video today, and I apologize if there are moments where you can't hear me. I do. I'm sorry. But I really just didn't want the poor teenager to hear what I had to say. Abbi Waxman is brilliant. You need to pick her up. She's got a lot of really great books out there. Remember, I did The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. Superb. She has The Garden of Small Beginnings and Other People's Houses. And this one is I Was Told It Would Get Easier. And boy, is that the most perfect title for this. This is a solid 4 for me and a Goodreads star rating, and I just can't wait to read more of Abbi Waxman, and I truly support her writing. I think she's just brilliant. So thank you again, Abbi. I hope you all the very, very best. I hope you are taking care and staying well. And until next time, guys, you know how it goes. Happy reading. Bye.